I used to think I was just forgetful. A few eggs missing, a bit less soup in the pot than I remembered, damp towels when I hadn't used any. At first, I blamed stress. Maybe I was losing my mind, memory gaps, careless housekeeping. But it went on for months. My dishwasher ran full loads even when I only ate out of one bowl. One afternoon, I found the butter dish smeared across the counter like someone used it with bare hands. It was greasy and foul. That's when I started locking the door to my pantry, like a fool trying to protect what was already gone. The truth came out by accident. I heard a sound in the attic, a low thump followed by a shuffling, almost like someone crawling. I grabbed a flashlight and pulled down the ladder. Up there, under old blankets and behind boxes of Christmas decorations, was a makeshift den. A sleeping bag, a pillow, a stack of tinned soup, and a portable hot plate, complete with charred edges on a makeshift wooden table. I dropped the flashlight. I called the police. They camped out inside my house for 2 nights until they caught him. A man, maybe early 40s, wiry, beard rough and patchy, climbing a tree at night like a raccoon, searching for the attic vent. His name was Darren. No ID, no known address, just a shrug and a weary look in his eyes. Here's the strange part. I didn't press charges. I told the police I wasn't frightened. A lie. I told them maybe he just needed help. Also a lie. The truth is, I didn't want people asking why I hadn't noticed sooner. Why I lived beneath someone for months without realizing. So I told them to let him go. They did. The next day, Darren showed up again. Not sneaking. Just standing in my backyard like he was waiting to be let in. "What do you want?" I asked from the porch. "You got good soup," he said with a grin. That night I made dinner for 2. It became a routine. He never stayed in the house, always climbed back into the attic through the same old vent. I let him. He didn't ask for much. A warm meal, a quiet place. Some nights I even found myself sitting across from him at the table, sipping wine, talking about books he'd read or things he'd heard on the radio. He was oddly well-spoken, claimed he had a degree, said he used to work in tech, said there'd been a fire, a layoff, a divorce. Every night it was a new version. One night, after we'd finished dinner and the last drops of wine were gone, Darren didn't head for the attic. Instead, he came up behind me as I was clearing the table, his hand gently caressing my back. I froze, the plate still in my hand. The quiet hum of the refrigerator filled the silence. "You're treating me well," he murmured, his voice deeper than usual, "taking care of my rest and food. But I need more." My heart hammered against my ribs. I felt a knot form in my stomach. Disgust coiled within me. But then he spoke again, his voice soft, almost pleading. "You're so pretty," he whispered. "You resemble Jennifer Lawrence." It had been years since anyone had truly praised me, years since I'd felt seen in that way. The words, unexpected and jarring in the moment, lodged themselves somewhere deep inside. I stood there, plate in hand, Darren's words echoing in my head. His touch lingered on my back, warm and unsettling. My pulse raced, torn between disgust and a strange, fleeting thrill. No one had called me pretty in years, let alone compared me to Jennifer Lawrence. It was absurd, manipulative even, but it stirred something I hadn't felt in ages. "This can't happen again," I said, stepping away, my voice sharper than I meant. You're just some homeless guy, Darren. This was a mistake." His face fell, the naughty grin fading. Without a word, he climbed the attic ladder, the creak of the steps swallowing the silence. I heard faint sobs through the ceiling that night, raw and broken. I wasn't his savior. The next evening he returned, eyes red and swollen. but there was a hardness in them now, a glint of anger. Before I could speak, he grabbed a coil of rope from the corner, some old camping gear I'd forgotten about. "You think you're better than me?" he snarled, his voice low and jagged. He tied my wrists, rough but not brutal, and pinned me to the couch. My breath caught, fear spiking, but I didn't fight. Not then. "I'm sorry," I whispered, playing along, my voice trembling. I didn't mean it." He didn't answer, just took what he wanted. He was like a man starved for something more than food. I let it happen, my mind detaching, floating somewhere else. It wasn't about desire, it was survival, or maybe something sicker I couldn't name. For a few nights it continued. He'd come down from the attic, eyes still carrying that angry edge, and I'd let him. I told myself he had needs, just like I'd needed his flattery, his fleeting praise that made me feel alive again. We were two broken things, feeding off each other's desperation. I cooked for him, set the table, poured the wine. He'd eat, we'd talk, and then the air would shift, his hands finding me again. I obliged, night after night, telling myself it was temporary, that I was in control. Then came the night he ruined everything.
Quick break. My new channel Broccoli Animations is now live. I'm posting new full-length videos there daily. Time to join me there. Link in bio.
I'd spent hours on the soup. Caramelized onions, fresh thyme, a dash of cream. He took one spoonful, grimaced, and shoved the bowl away. "This is crap," he said, his voice dripping with disdain. "You call this food?" Something snapped inside me. The words cut deeper than his hands ever had. My soup was my pride, my small act of care in this twisted arrangement. I grabbed the kitchen knife on the counter, my knuckles white. "You don't get to say that," I hissed, stepping closer. His eyes widened, but he didn't move fast enough. The knife sank into his chest, clean and quick. He gasped, stumbling back, blood blooming across his shirt. I stabbed again, and again, rage pouring out of me like a flood. He crumpled to the floor, eyes glassy, the attic ladder looming behind him like a silent witness. I stood over him, breathing hard, the knife still in my hand. The kitchen smelled of thyme and iron. I wiped the blade on a dish towel, my hands steady now. A strange calm settled over me, a clarity I hadn't felt in months. "My soup," I said softly, almost to myself, "is the best." I smiled, the weight of him gone, the house mine again.